It's lager time. Yay! Lager time. Poems, stories and thoughts. By me, Paul Cree. Who else? Greetings. Bonjour, what's happening? Welcome to Lager Time. My name is Paul Cree. Lager Time is my podcast where I share bits of writing that I am working on. Be they poems, stories, sometimes little thoughts, sometimes music, lyrics, rap. This is what I do. So how's it going out there in Lagerland? Been enjoying the weather, I hope. It's been a fairly quiet week for me. So if you were listening last week, I would have talked about this tree that came crashing down on the roof of the little summer house where Lager HQ is situated here at the bottom of the garden in southeast London. So it is all now being removed. It was a bit of a journey. Had to do a lot of sweeping. Had to do a lot of getting rid of wood. But that's all done. It was actually only until last night I really got the main bit off the roof. So we're on a hill. We're actually quite a high point in southeast London. So there's a lot of hills around here. So behind where I am is like a 20, 30 foot drop below. So one part of the tree came on the roof of this here Lager HQ, and then the other part is on this geezer's roof. So he sustained a lot more damage. So I suppose we're kind of lucky in that way. There's a little bit of damage in there, but here we are though. Lager time is happening. There's a few cracks here and there, but we survived. So I also talked about last week, Millwall. It wasn't quite to be. However, we finished third. We finished strong. We beat Oxford. But we were relying on QPR to do us a favour against a very good Ipswich side. It didn't happen. And then like the Stoics, you got to control what you can control. And Millwall did. So tonight, we go again. Playoffs, we're away to Hull. It's going to be huge. We've done playoffs a few times over the years. Particularly coming up from the third tier, League One. Went through that a few times. Went to Wembley twice. Millwall's been to Wembley a lot over the years. But we've not been in the playoffs in, what's now the Championship, in the second tier for a long time. Last time we were in the playoffs, 2002 I think, was against Birmingham. That ended in a riot. And then the time before that, was the year I think I probably started supporting Millwall. It was early 1994, I think. We got in the playoffs. The Mick McCarthy era, I played Derby. That didn't end well. That ended in a riot. So let's hope none of that madness happens here today. Right, so where we at? So yeah, I'm going to do chapter 5 of Way of the Kip. I'm enjoying it. I don't really know if anyone else is. Large up Sanini of Sanini and the Soul fame, who gave a nice little thingy message on the Substack notes thing last week. But aside from that, aside from my dad who occasionally drops me an email, don't really know. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying writing it. Now we're in the later chapters. Some of this I'm rewriting or adding. So I'm not quite sure where this is going to end. I've got a loose idea, but I'm enjoying it. If you are, or if you ain't, well, let me know. So we're now on chapter 5. So Way of the Kip is, a tongue-in-cheek title for a story about a guy going on a journey. He's finding out, or he's trying to find out how he can get better sleep at night time, but hopefully it emerges that he's going on a deeper journey. So we got some advice from Bianca in accounts to go and buy a sandalwood candle. So last week he went through the rigmarole of going to the big Tesco in Brixton to buy the candle. He's got the candle, so now he's back at his home. So you'll see what happens. But along that journey, he's having to face down a lot of things, or starting to anyway. So here we are, chapter 5, Way of the Kip. Excuse me, hay fever. Practically flew off the 159, almost tumbling down the stairs from the top deck. Ran back to the gaff, up the few steps to the front door, key in, twist, push, close, and then straight into my room. Slapped the shopping on the bed, cracked open one of the tins, which fizzed and spilled down my shirt as the pizza box slid onto the floor. Not sure I cared. I just stared at the sandalwood Yankee candle, miraculously sat upright, whilst the rest of the shopping was half spinning out the bag. Gong sound. Looked at my phone for the time. It was 7:10. So now what? I had this feeling of excitement, like back in the day, coming home from school with a new computer game. I wanted to rip the cellophane off and plug the candle in and play the thing, right there and then. Figured this feeling of fizziness probably wasn't ideal if I wanted to tap into the supposed powers of the sandalwood and get a decent night's kip. I picked it up and sniffed it. It smelled nice. Nice. Clearly I didn't have a word to describe the smell. I guess the smell was, well, sandalwood, whatever the hell that was. It certainly smelled decent, like the occasional whiff you get of a well-presented female's hair when you're standing in the lift. I drained the beer and thought it might be wise to at least make some sort of plan. Eat, chill out, then aim for bed about 9:30. That'll do. Picked up the shopping, slipped into the kitchen and whacked the oven on. 180 degrees, 10 minutes. Oven food temperature and duration was my mastermind speciality. Pizza, I could sleepwalk that one. Sleepwalk, if only. I was excited to go to bed. It was an odd feeling. It was odd even thinking it. Who gets excited about sleep? Maybe Bianca. But maybe there was more to it than that. Something deeper. Again, no words. I cracked open another tin and stuck Illmatic on. Again. Just that intro track into MY State of Mind. Could listen to that over and over. Which I had done. Over and over. Sat there and listened to the first few tracks. Lying on my bed, head nodding to halftime, half-damp work shirt strewn across my floor. My mind was replaying the events from the day again. The training, the telling off from Priya, mugging off Bianca, then asking her for advice. Boring Keith, being screwed by Shaz. The little Buddha statue on Bianca's desk, her "I'm worth it" routine. The bias and the bigotry rearing its head, in my head. I couldn't shake the feeling that all of it was linked to sleep. That feeling, like a little niggle from the deep, that perhaps I'd not noticed before. Like standing on Streatham Hill Station in the mornings waiting for my train. Sometimes I'd peer down the track until I could see a little square dot, which might be the train, but most of the time it was too out of focus to tell. I didn't know what it was. How do you even work this stuff out? Old hip-hop guys from the 80s like KRS-One would go on about knowledge of self. Pretty sure Nas talked about it too. Was this what they were talking about? But what do you do when you can't understand it? You feel something, but you don't know what it is. Where was the manual for all of this? I had no idea. Just sat there with the niggle and the beer in my hand. A thought then popped up in my mind, like a little crisp packet appearing in the sky on a windy day, that maybe getting a decent night's sleep was the missing piece on sorting my life out. the solver of all my problems. I chuckled, as if. I picked up the candle again and wondered if this little red waxy blob was the answer. At the very least, it might help disguise that stale smell that always seemed to be in my room no matter how much Glade I used. I stopped short at the second can, even though I had another 2 left in the pack. Standard procedure was to drink whatever was there. It was a reflex. This time I showed restraint. Well done me. I ate my pizza at 7:30, so it would give me enough time to digest before I decided to call it a night. Dinner done and a casual bit of Sky Sports news and I was all set. I found an old lighter from my weed days in the Nike shoebox. I placed a candle on a small shelf just above the fireplace and lit the thing. Directly above the candle was that Chelsea calendar from the year before, still stuck on October. It was February. That month's centrefold was Frank Lampard, with the candle burning below him and an empty can of Lynx Africa next to it. It looked like a shrine, or I was about to do some shamanic ritual. To help me unwind, I did a few stretches, turned the volume down on the music, and dimmed the lights. All this effort needed to be worth it. I was worth it, apparently. Or was it Bianca? I looked at the candle and took a deep breath. Climbed into bed. 9:30. On time. Well done me. The sandalwood aroma started to hit my nose. Here we go. This is it, I thought. Like doing a pill, but the opposite. Any minute I'm gonna start coming down. I lied there, excited, waiting for the downness to kick in. Some deep house compilation was playing. One of those I enjoyed but knew none of the names of the songs, or the producers, or the album. Just some global underground thing. I practiced some deep breathing, getting good whiffs of that sandalwood wherever that was up my nose. In, hold, out. In, hold, out. Waiting for the sleepiness to kick in. Any minute now. I was feeling the music. A decent tune had kicked in. Noticed my head and feet had started nodding. Must be the down. The down is coming. Here it comes. It's coming. Any minute now. Surely. Come on. Change the CD. In. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. Thoughts whizzing around my brain like rogue firework displays. Remembered that I needed to pay the council tax. Was Tony DeRigo still playing football? Any minute now. 2 a.m. and I was wide awake. Laptop screen illuminating my face. Hurting my eyes. Sound off. Tissue at the ready. Resorting to the tried and tested. Done what I needed to do. Blew out the candle. Climbed back into bed. And stared at the ceiling like I did every night until I forgot I couldn't sleep and somehow drifted off. Do one, Bianca. None of this was worth it. Chapter 5, Way of the Kip. We're all done. Well, hopefully it's a bit short today. So don't forget, paulcreed.co.uk/shop. You can get the original Raw 64s of Boredom, MP3, 5-track EP, rap EP, and the ebook to go with it. Each track gets a little write-up. A little experiment I did in 2020. More 64s is coming. I keep saying that every week. But I've done a little bit of work on it this week. It's strange. These little passion projects like this, even though this is sort of my job, I feel guilty about doing it. But anyway, it will come. Saturday, 30th of May, What We Do When We Can't Dance, which is the Dream Arts Rep Theatre show I've been working on, writing and making the music for. It's at the King Alfred Theatre in Golders Green, 7 p.m. Oh, excuse me. Tickets are free. There'll be a link in the bio of this podcast or whatever, or in the email. Cree.substack.com, which is where I host this. If you're listening elsewhere on Spotify or Apple, if you go onto Substack, you can get the written text of this whole thing. You'll get the story and all of that. But I think that is it. So have a lovely weekend. Come on the Millwall tonight. Let's just get a result and bring her back to the den. And then hopefully next week I'll be going, and all of that. Peas and taters, Paul.
It's longer time. Yay! Lager time. Poems, stories and thoughts. By me, Paul Cree. Who else?